Ladies and gentlemen, your Pratte Pack. We're live in the Pratte Pack gym via tape. But they'll be live tomorrow, sheetsjobs.com. All sorts of openings. Listen, you see that logo? I have such respect for the brothers Sheets. I have known Steve Sheets for over 20 years. And I must tell you, humble beginnings, dairy farmers in Altoona. Of course, Lou, Stan, their late brother Joe, and now Joe Jr. at the helm. I am there daily, sometimes twice daily, throughout the tri-state, visiting their incredible stores. And I'm always honored to know them and to have an opportunity to do business with them. And I must admit, being that I am a bachelor, MTO food to go, fuel, food, fun, feel the love at Sheets Convenience Stores. Remember, big interview day tomorrow. If you're interested in a career with opportunity to grow and great benefits and never boring is that job, hey, step up and become a member of the Sheets team. Again, find out more at sheetsjobs.com. Much love, much respect for the Sheets family. Quality people, love having them in the neighborhood. Now, I was with you just a few moments ago. I just wanted to make sure that I got the list of the great show that I have lined up for you tonight out there early so you could all get ready to make your plans. More on that in a moment to join me beginning at 7 o'clock tonight. But I want to talk some headlines and some things that CBS Radio News is covering along with the award-winning KDK Radio News Department today. United CEO Carlos Muñoz. We had a horrible failure. He was talking to the House Transportation Committee today about the dragging of that passenger. Meanwhile, the president is in the White House Rose Garden today with the U.S. Air Force football team. Watching some of that on Facebook via ABC News. Looked really spectacular. Speaking of the president, he told Bloomberg, Kim Jong-un, I would be honored to meet with him. Is that a good idea or bad idea? We're going to be talking about a lot of this stuff tonight. Duquesne Light has sent investigators out to Butler, Clarion, and Forest counties to see if tornadoes actually did touch down yesterday. And to all of those great utility workers who've been working around the clock, I salute you to get power restored. They do great work. Now, this just trending in sports. Matt Niskanen will not be suspended for that cross-check on Sidney Crosby, 5:24 in the first period last night. Crosby left. His status still unclear. Stay tuned to 93.7 The Fan and News Radio 1020 KDK throughout the day to give you the latest on that. This standoff in Beaver County, very frustrating to me as I was headed to work yesterday. It was in and around an area where I grew up as a kid. I used to ride my bike, play sandlot football, and I would walk with my dog at my side unleashed, as would all my friends. And we would get up early in the morning and just take off in the summertime and be gone until dinner time. There were never any worries. There were never any fears. Your parents pretty much knew where you were at, and if they didn't, the neighbors' parents did. And as I was driving past the area that actually was blocked off by the first responders while they got that situation resolved and the man eventually turned himself in, all is well, great job by everyone involved, I just started thinking back to my little neighborhood and how now it's not even, well, safe from horrible things happening and news and headlines that I just don't like to read about and hear about. So tonight we're going to talk about what has happened to Main Street America and the towns and cities, municipalities and neighborhoods that we all remember that you just felt safe in. That's not the case anymore. So are we doing enough as citizens to make those communities safe again? Because we really depend on politicians, we depend on law enforcement officials to really right the ship. But isn't it really some of the responsibility on our shoulders? We're going to be talking about that tonight. Also, on my program, as I mentioned, John Delano, you couldn't ask for a better guest right after local news at 8. He will be talking about the president and his ongoing battle with the media. And I really believe that these two sides need to figure it out so we as a country can move forward. We'll talk to John Delano about that. In the 9 o'clock hour, this man who represents this, Keystone Mountain Lake Regional Council of Carpenters, Rick Okreshevsky, will join me in studio tonight. First 100 days and beyond. What about the face of American labor? These great men and women and the Trump administration. Is our president really doing enough to further their career? Because as I said before, without the hammer going down by those great workers, our economy comes to a standstill. We need them. We should support them. some of the greatest people in labor force anywhere in the country, the Carpenters Union. So we're going to talk to Rick Okreshevsky about that coming up tonight. Now, 10 o'clock hour. My father loved it. He was always responsible, took care of his 6 kids, went to work every day, and this was his reward at the end of the day. Crown Royal, fine wine and good spirits. Every time I look at it, I think of my father. Now, my dad's dad, he actually came to this region to help build a place called St. Joe Lead, which is now the future home of that incredible multi-billion-dollar project from Shell Oil. And believe me, if my dad were alive today, he would be saluting Shell Corporation for what they've done and what they're going to do for this region. He would be extremely excited about that. And it's almost kind of like turning back the clock. My grandfather actually lived in Monaca before he brought his family from Missouri while building St. Joe Lead. And here I am, another generation in Monaca, while they are building that Shell petrochemical plant. So that's pretty exciting stuff, right? Well, my mother is Italian, part Italian, and she came from Columbus. Her father, Emmerich, was part Sicilian. And he did what he had to do to survive. And I often think about how my dad's dad pretty much had that weekly paycheck and he was able to take care of his 9 kids. And my grandfather and grandmother struggled because they didn't have as much. My grandfather had a short stint on the railroad and then he had some various jobs. And let's face it, my grandfather, a proud man, died very young, 63 years of age. He lost a daughter at 8 years of age because of a toothache before they had penicillin. So he dealt with that. And of course, he raised his 2 other daughters and son. And they have all gone on to do rather well. My uncle's still alive, and thank God for that, in his 90s now, living in freedom. But I think of that time in Rochester, Pennsylvania, and North Rochester, where, well, they called it Little Italy. And my grandfather did various things to survive, and one of them happened to be bootlegging. Not am I saying it was a good thing to do, but they had to do what they had to do. And definitely at a different level, and just a motion picture, and it's Hollywood, but it's still that same premise of a family of, well, immigrants just trying to survive. And believe it or not, there was a time that many of those immigrants were discriminated upon to where they couldn't even find work if they wanted to. So that's why I have really taken a lot of value from Mario Puzo's book, The Godfather. And I can remember my mother, who was a ferocious reader, actually having that book and reading it late at night. And then the great Francis Ford Coppola decided to make it into a movie, and he did really ramp it up quite a bit. So tonight, in the 10 o'clock hour, get your Cohiba cigars, and of course your fine wine and spirits. And by the way, Coppola wine, incredible product at your fine wine and spirit stores. Because what we are going to do in the 10 o'clock hour, because of Turner Classic Movies, big screen classic, they're actually going to have this in movie theaters June 4th and 7th. It's the 45th anniversary of... And we will pay tribute to that motion picture tonight in the 10 o'clock hour by sharing historic moments from the film, and also at the recent Tribeca Film Festival, which was founded in 1988 by Robert De Niro and Jane Rosenthal. Mr. De Niro and Miss Rosenthal were able to bring back some of the original cast members, and you will hear some of their comments, including director Francis Ford Coppola, Robert Duvall, James Caan, Al Pacino, Diane Keaton, and Mr. De Niro as well. So that's all coming up tonight. Now listen. Sports, and a great way to enjoy the Pirates and Penguins is with a Miller Lite. Ed Shewak Distributing, and also John Marchand, his sister Marianne, and the entire crew at the American Legion Post 580. Just a couple of notes. I want to remind you that they have got their hoagies for sale from the Ladies Auxiliary, and yes, their Independence Day shirts as well, so get your orders in. And the Beaver County Special Unit Golf Outing is coming up October the 15th, so please participate because they do such a wonderful job. Now, sports news. We'll get to the Pirates story in just a moment, but it really was the Penguins, the big headline from last night. Crosby cross-checked by Matt Niskanen, 5:24 first period. He left, did not return, as we told you. Matt Niskanen, a former teammate until he decided to sign with Washington in 2014, said, "I didn't mean to hurt him. It was just one of those things." And, well, he is not going to be suspended by the National Hockey League. But Kevin Shattenkirk got the overtime goal. Pens lose 3-2. They still lead the series conference semifinals 2-1. And it'll be another opportunity for the Pens in Game 4 tomorrow night. PPG Paints Arena, 7:30 on the NBC Sports Network. Now, as far as the Pirates, they went into extra innings at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Billy Hamilton drove in the winning run. They lost 4-3. Tonight, Tyler Glasnow will go for the Bucks. You can hear it on 93.7 The Fan. And LeBron James, 35 points. Game 1 of their second round series with Toronto. The Cavaliers defeated Toronto 116-105. That's it, folks. Have a great rest of your day, and we will talk later tonight. And we begin with Pittsburgh Works after local news with Joe DiStio. It'll be Colleen Brackenvich and Ben Urso from Zachariah Brown. We'll be talking elder law. That gets things going on Rob Pratte Tuesday night on News Radio 1020 KDKA. Good afternoon.